Okay, remember what I told you. Be your own boss. Love yourself. Get up and dance. Level up.
Level up, 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 level up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Lucy Maricle and I hope to awaken your consciousness. Guys, today's video is about the worst ever advice anyone can give you. Be yourself. I know a lot of coaches do that, be yourself, but I'm here to tell you that the whole point is to be the best version of yourself, right? And I feel it's such a lazy euphemism. I mean, be yourself. Just be yourself. Well, being myself hasn't helped. So I'd rather be my best version, the best version of myself, right? So guys, I mean, I'm a big fan of law of attraction, and you know, most times people say just be yourself and put yourself out there. Just put out positive vibes and everything will just be fine. I totally agree. I totally agree that what the energy you put in out there is exactly what you receive. I'm a firm believer of the law of attraction, but I also believe in action, right? I also believe that there is a gap between being yourself and attaining the best version of yourself or living the best version of your life. There's a gap. There's certain things that you ought to do yourself. And I mean, all of us have a story that we carry. Every single one of us has a conversation, internal dialogue that has brought you from childhood till your 40s, your 30s, your 20s. It is a story that you repeatedly had to tell yourself. It's these conversations, the inner dialogue that has been happening in your head. The way you behave is determined by your background, the unconscious or conscious bias you have carried through from your childhood. It has been the story that you have carried. I mean, if I look at myself, let's say for example around my marital experience, there was a story that I carried that caused me to choose the partners I chose. There was a story that I carried that made me behave in a certain way to my partners in marriage. Sometimes there were sad stories, sometimes there were great stories. I know there were stories that there was a particular story I carried throughout all my marriages. I've been married twice. Through all my marriages, and it was that of, you know, a man can cheat and it's okay for a man to cheat as long as he comes home. It's what I grew up thinking, you know, was okay, but that's bullshit, right? We know that that's not a good story to carry. And hence, when I, you know, in the past when I met a potential partner, it was about, you know, believing that it was okay to be belittled like that. Money, rich people are wicked. You know, everybody that has money or drives a good car, lives in a good house, was a bad person. You had to work hard for your money, you know, and these are stories you carry in the career, in the workplace, in the corporate. You know, you have to literally slave away and slave away in the corporate, and you know, go through these periods of long periods of roles that you must play before you get to a certain level in the corporate. You know, there's a lot of stories we carry, and those stories we carry are, you know, extremely crucial in terms of the outcomes of our lives. So I have come up with 5 ways to unlearn your story and literally be the best version of yourself. And guys, I'm in this journey and I am sharing as I am learning, and you know the drift. I don't want to edit my videos. I believe in showing up in my true self, in my authentic self, whether it makes me, you know, present myself in a vulnerable way or not. It's all good. It's all about the learning. So I have written a couple of thoughts, 5 steps to bridge the gap to living your best version of your life. And I think number one is really accepting or acknowledging your current self, right? You have to accept your current self, or else you wouldn't know what to change, right? You have to get to a point where you say, look, in marriage, this is how I behave. I need to bridge the gap to get to an acceptable version, the best version that I consider to be, right? In my finances, in my economy, in my career, in my relationship building, I need a few actions to implement to get to the better version of myself. So number one, I said acknowledge current self, acknowledge it, forgive yourself, acknowledge it, and be excited about the fact that you are moving forward to meet your best version, right? Number two is identify your best version. What is it that you want to look like or feel like, or what sort of picture do you have as your best version? I know for a fact that, say for example, I love agriculture, I love farming. I picture myself in my old age, retiring in a farm kind of setup with my boots, my sexy body, and just living a simple life. That's my best version as I understand it to be. An entrepreneur of note, I see myself writing quite a lot of books, for example. So in order to get there, what am I supposed to do? That's the question. If you want to get married and have 6 children, and you picture your life a certain way, what are you willing to do? If you want to be the best in your industry, what are you willing to do, and what must you put in place in order to be the best version? So identify your best version. And then what's very important for me is my number 3 is build internal confidence. This is the differentiator. You need to start unlearning those stories, telling yourself a new story. I am great, I am wealthy, I am beautiful, I am successful, I am lovable, I am enough. Affirm to yourself who you are. Affirm to yourself who you are and repeat that to yourself. Change what is happening in the subconscious. Whatever lessons or stories rather that you've been telling yourself all these years, begin to reverse those statements. So if you are the kind that says, I always attract a certain type of men in my life, start reversing it. I always lack, in terms of, I always believe in scarcity when it comes to money, for example, reverse it. I am attracting money into my domain. I am receiving money on a continuous basis, increasing quantities. Have those affirmations that will literally reverse your way of thinking in the subconscious. If you repeat that, you build up internal confidence. Tell yourself, look at yourself in the mirror and say, Lucy, but you are beautiful, you are successful, you are industrious, you are resourceful. Tell yourself internally. Don't allow external factors to validate your existence. It's important that validation comes within. It's important to understand that the greatest in you, source divine in you, is literally what you look into for self-validation and not externally. It's it's okay for people to validate you, but don't be too hung up on their validation, because at times it won't come. And what are you going to do if it doesn't come? Don't seek for validation from any man, any human being. Seek for internal validation. Number 4, grow your competence. It's all well and good, guys, for you to be confident, but you need competence to kind of bridge the gap. So it doesn't help you being confident in a subject, for example, in talking, for example. Some of us are big talkers. Some of us are able to sell ice to an Eskimo. But if you are not equipped with the competence that goes with it, then you might as well forget it. I'll make a simple example that I heard over the weekend, and it has to do with dating. Another video, dating, guys. I have amazing stuff to tell you about dating, right? As a single, obviously I am out there learning new things, so I'll share in another video. But it's, for example, the dating coach I was listening to was saying that you could be confident to approach a woman or a guy, but do you have the competence? Do you have the skill to navigate around to get what you are hoping to get? So if you want to go, for example, a simple example he gave as well was, you need, even as simple as meeting somebody for dinner or on a date, you know, you have to be prepared. You have to have certain skills. For example, go research on different topics before you have dinner. You know, be prepared and arm yourself with certain skills. If you're going to a meeting with your boss, you're not just gonna rock up there not having prepared. You know, equip yourself with competence as well. Learn a skill, a new skill. So confidence goes with competence. If you don't have the necessary competence in your field, in whatever you hope to achieve, then your confidence is nullified. Number 5, communicate and connect. Communication is so key, guys. I cannot tell you enough that, you know, every human being, no matter what their role, their status is, wants to be associated on an emotional basis. They want to be connected to on a human basis. I don't know how else to explain this. It's like everyone wants to be communicated with. Let's say, for example, I go to dinner with somebody and he's telling me about something I even don't understand. Let's say he's talking about history, like hectic stuff. Let's say the space war between Russia and America that happened many decades ago, and I have no idea what he's talking about. And you know, he's trying to articulate certain aspects of the historical background, and I'm sitting there nodding, and you know, I'm connecting in a superficial way. So I'm pretending to understand what he's saying, for example. That would be so detrimental to your connection, because you actually are not connecting. So you would probably be going like So when I talk about communication, be vulnerable. If you don't understand, put yourself out there on a human level, saying, I don't know, but be curious enough to know. So connect to them, or with them rather, in an emotional way. Bring the person in you. You know, these days you find a situation, most cases, you find superficial conversations. It's you know, it's just a dialogue, but there is no emotion to it. You know, you're just communicating on a surface that is so superficial. But communication and actually connecting with somebody on a personal level is such a blessing, guys. Learn to do that. Communicate, and don't be afraid to bring out the vulnerable side of you. Communication is the connection of human beings, and these days, you know, we lack that sincere, authentic communication. So those are the 5 steps. Acknowledge your current self, identify your best version, build internal confidence, grow your competence, communicate, and connect authentically. There is nothing so sexy and so beautiful to connect authentically with somebody. Look them in the eye, connect with them. You know, don't be afraid to bring your vulnerable side. That's basically what I want to tell you. So it is quite easy to reach or you know, live the best version of your life. That's basically what I'm here to say. And yeah, let's not be caught up on cliches such as be yourself. I don't want to be myself. I want to be the best version of myself, and it requires action. Unfortunately, law of attraction, a bit of action, it rhymes, does it for me. So guys, that's it from me. I love you. Namaste. Peace. I honor the divinity in you. Namaste.